Okay, so let's start the lecture and then we'll wait for the other students simultaneously, right? So yesterday we were there on this exercise. We have completed the ocean plastic example. And now let's start with our German scientist example. I will explain it again to you, right? So we were on sentence elimination yesterday. So sentence elimination, what is the concept of doing sentence elimination? Basically, there will be 5 sentences given to you. And out of those 5 sentences, 1 sentence is odd. Or you can say is not matching with the sequence of the remaining sentences. So in that sentences, you have to pick that odd sentence out. Sometimes you'll get 5 sentences, sometimes you'll get 4 sentences. The example which is given in front of you has 4 sentences, and you have to eliminate 1 sentence out of all these sentences. So what we have to do is, I'll explain one example to you and then we'll do the practice exercises. All right. So let's start with the A option first. German scientists analyzed 3,300-year-old bust have found evidence suggesting that a royal sculptor at the time may have smooth creases around the mouth and fixed a bumpy nose to depict the beauty of the Nile in a better light. Now, whatever the vocabulary words are written here, it's not a matter of concern. The matter is what they're talking about. They're talking about the scientist. They're talking about evidence. They have found some proof about a sculptor. A sculptor is a kind of a statue they have found, which have creases around the mouth, like something is damaged near the mouth for those statue. And there's a nose, there's a problem in the nose, and they have fixed it because they want to depict the beauty of the night in a better light. Okay, so they're talking about these kind of words. So are you listening? Shreya, are you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the second point says the new rendering at the entrance of the Egyptian city of Samlet attempts to recreate the strangeness of Amarna style. Now, this is the style which is different from the very first question. The first question was focused on a royal sculptor, and the second question was focused on the Amarna style. So these two are not at all linked because they are talking about different prospects. And they're talking about Amarna style, which is probably the best done in museum instead of on a highway where it might scare people. So this Amarna style is recreated in a museum instead of a highway because maybe it was scary, right? C option says the miracle of the Nefertiti bust in Berlin. Now they are talking about Egyptian city, right? Is that it combines the realism of Amarna style. Again, you can say that as it is known with a feel of grace and harmony to create one of the world's great icons of beauty. So they're talking about a kind of Samalute, which is a great icons of beauty. So they was talking about the Amarna style, okay, in B and C option. So we can relate that. It has a very huge connection. After that, in D option, they're talking about by getting the colossally awful sculptor of the ancient queen pulled down, Egyptians have shown the way forward. We need to topple art that's an insult to our public spaces. Now you can see B is related to C option due to Amarna style, plus B is also related to D option because they are talking about Egyptians. They are talking about the strangeness and awfulness. You can see this word strangeness and awfulness. They're talking about the sculptor of Amarna style of a queen, right? So they said that this is an insult to our public places if this kind of art will be published. Again, here it was written that it might scare people, so it should be done better in a museum. So scare people, they are doing it in a museum, not on a highway, which is a public place. So definitely this is also a word which is connected to highway or scare people. So now B has a connection with C, B has a connection with D. A is something which has no connection. They're not talking about the scientist. They're not talking about any evidence. They're not talking about the beauty of the Nile or the royal sculptor, which has some damage on the mouth or the nose. So definitely the elimination will be done for A option. So A will be our final answer. Okay, so this is the strategy I told you earlier, and this was the question, just a revision of the question. Now we'll do some practice questions of 2020 of CAT examination so that you will be through with these kind of questions. Okay, so I'll give you.
Actually, I have
Yes.
one doubt. This portion is belongs to GRE also, na?
Yes, yes, yes. In GRE also, in CAT also, in both kind of exam, the actually you can say logical reasoning, critical reasoning, quant, VARC, the pattern of the questions are same. All right, the strategies of the questions are same. So whenever you are planning to crack your GRE or CAT examination, the syllabus, you will find the syllabus almost same, right?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah. So now I'll give you one question. This is a question, all right? And you have to find the correct answer for this question. Okay, I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes time to solve this. Okay. When you are done, you can just tell me, okay? Is it done? Shreya, are you done? Okay. Can I explain now?
Ma'am, I think the answer will be third or fourth one.
You need to eliminate one option. Which one you are finding the wrong option? Which is the wrong option out of all these 5 options? Are you confused between 2 sentences or 3 sentences that yes, this might be wrong? Anything like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I think fourth one.
Fourth one? You think that fourth one will be the answer? This is the odd one? Okay. Now I'll explain you how you have to find the answer. First thing, they were talking about single panel comics because the sentence revolved around this. It was saying a particularly interesting example of inference. They're talking about inference example occurs in single panel comics. Okay. Then second point says or revolves around the creator's participation and imagination that makes the single panel comics so engaging and rewarding. Now, here the sentence revolves around the creator's participation, who actually made those single panel comics, right? So the noun here is the creator, right? Third point says often the humor requires you to imagine what happened in the instant immediately before or immediately after the panel you are being shown. So they're talking about the inference, they're talking about the humor that you need to imagine that you have instant immediately before, or what happened you have to imagine in your mind, and what will happen next the panel is being showing you. Okay, so here they are also talking about the inference, and they're talking about the how single panel comics react before and after reading it. So definitely there might be a link between 3 and 1, but we are not sure because the exact words were not given. Okay, so let's check out the fourth point. To get the joke means to get the humor. You actually have to figure out what some of these missing panels must be. So whatever single panel comics are showing you the inference or whatever humor you have to imagine, you have to just figure that out, that what are the missing panels and what kind of things you are missing out. So to get the joke, okay? So you have to figure that out. You have to calculate, okay? So again, the third and the fourth has a strong connection, and there is a connection between third and the first option as well. But they're not talking about the creator participation and imagination yet. Okay, no doubt there was a word single panel comic, but we are not sure about the creator participation, whether it is linked to the sentences or not. Okay, so let's read out the fifth sentence as well. It is as though the cartoonist devised as a series of panels to tell the story. Now we are actually figuring out the missing panels in fourth option, and they are saying the cartoonist is devised a series of panels. He knows the series of panels to tell or narrate the story and has chosen to show you only one. So whatever we need to figure out, it's because they are showing us only one series of panels. The remaining missing panels we need to figure out. So you know that 4 and 5 has a strong connection, because in fourth option, they are saying there are missing panels. In fifth option, they are saying those missing panels are actually missing because the cartoonists know it and you are shown only one, and typically not even the funniest. So you have to find out the funniest ones to get the joke. So now you can understand fourth and fifth has a connection. Fourth and third has a connection. Third and one has a connection. So ultimately the second sentence doesn't have any connection with any of the sentences. So that's why the answer will be second. Did you get it, Shreya?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So now I'll give you certain exercises to do and we'll do it together, okay? I'll show it to you. This is our very first question. Okay, this will definitely come in your examination for almost, you can say, 12 to 13 marks. So it's very important in any of the, you can say, entrance examination, these kind of sentences will definitely come. Okay, so just first of all, read this first question and try to solve it. Okay. You'll be given 3 to 4 minutes. Yes, Shreya, done. Shall I explain now? Shreya, you can share your answer. Are you there? Shreya, are you there? If you will tell me, then I can explain. Na? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, you have, okay. You just joined, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, did you completed this answer, question number 1? Shreya, have you completed this answer, question number 1? Or you need more time?
Disconnected.
Okay. So, do you need more time to solve this question number 1? Shreya, you there? Shreya, shall I explain the answer for question number 1? I think your audio is mute. That's why I'm not getting your voice. Okay, I can explain it to you first and then you can do it the second one. The first one, if we'll solve, the A option is saying the logic of displaying one inner quality through outward appearance was based on a distinction between being a woman and being a feminine. Now you can see there are two words here where the sentence is focusing on. The first one is focusing on a woman and being a feminine is the second topic. So they are just talking about the appearances in both the aspects. Okay. B option says about the appearance that it is a signifier of the conduct, right? So whatever question number 1 was saying about the appearance of being a woman and being a feminine, those are different qualities in both the two topics. So they're just focusing on the appearance part, that it is a very important signifier of a conduct. To look was to be in conformity to the feminine ideal, was measured by how well women use these tools in terms of fashion and beauty industries. So they are actually relating these two sentences, feminine and women, and how they are interrelated in terms of appearance. That being a feminine means how the women actually handle fashion and beauty industries together or create a balance. So definitely there is a connection between A option and the B option. Okay, let's come to the C option. It says the makeover centric media, they are now focusing on the media, right? This is something a different point which we haven't read in A or B option, but still we'll definitely focus on that part. They are talking about the media sets out subtly and not subtly. Subtly means something very difficult to describe, all right? Something very difficult to understand. So they're talking about whether it is difficult or not, good or bad, ways to be a woman, layering these over inequalities of race and class. Now, how the media depicts a woman in terms of difficult, non-difficult, good, bad, in terms of race and class, this is something different, which was talked about in A or B option. So now this is something different. So we'll definitely mark right now. We'll keep it different. Maybe D or E option will be related to it. So we'll definitely keep it now. D option says the denigration of working class women and the women of color often centers on their perceived failure to embody feminine beauty. Now they are talking again about B option. B, because here they are saying that working class women and the women of color often centers on their perceived failure to embody feminine beauty. So whatever the feminine beauty is, people think that working class women and the different colored women is actually not a feminine beauty to say. So again, they are focusing on the women and the feminine, these two aspects of appearance, how they look. All right. So the D option is actually matched with the A option. It has a connection with A option and A has a connection with B option right now. Right. Last point is talking again about women was considered a biological category, but femininity was a process. These are the definitions. A woman is a biological category. This is the definition of a woman, being a woman. But femininity is a process by which women became specific kinds of women. So feminine is a kind of process. So this has a different definition. Again, they are focusing on women and feminine. Again, it has a connection with the A option. E has a connection with the A option because A option is also distinction between women and feminine. There's a distinction. Here also they are defining these two things. All right, so E has a connection with A. D has a connection with A. A has a connection with B. Ultimately, we are left with the C option. They're talking about media, but the remaining four options weren't talking about the same. The answer will be C. Do you get it, Shreya? Shreya, am I clear? Hello, are you there, Shreya? Okay. So now you can do the second question on your own. Just try to perform the second question and then we can understand that what they're talking about. We'll have to eliminate the odd sentence. We'll do just 2-3 more questions and then we'll focus on the next part, parallelism, the next aspect of CAT exam.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me, Shreya, what's the answer?
Ma'am, I think the answer will be C.
Correct. How you found this answer? Like any strategy you have used, or just by reading the sentences and marking the keywords, it was easy to find the answer?
Ma'am, because B and E are the same, I think, and D and A also are.
Talking on the same page. They are talking about the algorithms. They are talking about
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
computers, right? Yes, you are right. D has a connection with A, and D has a connection with B as well. They're talking about the hate speech and oppressive and abusive language. So they're talking about the violent speech in D option. It's ultimately the abusive language itself. All right. So you can relate this option as well. And of course, E option is also talking about the same page, offensive and prejudiced, right? So ultimately, B, D, E connections are same. A option again talking about the algorithm and biasness. So C was different. C was something on the current automation detention models. So it was not making any sense. So yes, C is the correct answer. Let's solve another question. This one. And after 7:15, we'll try solving the parallelism question, okay? And in exam also, you'll get these kind of topics, these kind of sentences, social topics, okay? Yeah, Shreya, done?
Ma'am, I think it will be
A. A. Okay. How you found this? A was talking about the victim's trauma after assault. Rarely gets the attention. That means whatever assault being done to the victim, that doesn't get the attention that we lavish on the moment of the damage that divided the survivor from a less encumbered past. What was happened in the past, we are focusing on that part, but we are not very much concerned what will happen next. Okay. B option says one thing we often do with narratives of sexual assault is sort their respective parties into different temporalities. It seems we are interested in perpetrators' futures and victim past. Now you can see victim pasts and victim trauma. All right. And it's past. They are just talking on the same page. Can you connect this? Because they were also talking about that whatever stories we learned about the sexual assault, they're talking about two things. The first thing is perpetrator's future, what will happen to the criminal, and the second thing is victim past, what was happened to victim, right? And they're also talking on the same page that victim's trauma after assault rarely gets attention. They doesn't focus on this part. They just focus on the survivor incumbent past. Okay. Now, C option says one result is that we don't have much vocabulary for what happened in victim's life. Basically, whatever happened in his past, like regarding the sexual assault they are talking about, that we're saying that we don't have words for that. We don't have much vocabulary for that. After the painful past has been excavated, again, they are talking about the past, even when our shared language gestures toward the future as the team survivor does. Okay, so whatever the shared language gestures we use or the team survivor does, they're just focusing on that part. But again, they don't have vocabulary to explain that particular assault. Okay, so you can say these are related, but we can't make any connection between the A option with C option. But yes, C has a connection with B. Okay, because they are talking that we have the stories to narrate that, but we don't have much vocabulary. Ultimately, these are related. Okay, and then B is related to A, sorry, C is related to A, not B is related to, C is directly related to A, because they're also talking about the same thing, that victim traumas after assault doesn't get attention because we don't have vocabulary for that. Okay, so now we have to focus on the D part and the E part. D says even the most charitable questions asked about. Now they're asking the questions about the victim seem to focus on the past in pursuit of understanding and corroboration of painful details. They are saying that whatever happened to the victim, some questions are asked on the basis of the understanding what happened to her or him, and the painful details are asked to him. So in question number D, in option number D, they are asking the questions to the victim. Before that, they were talking about the stories of telling about the victim past, but now they are asking questions. So somewhat a different thing, but yes, they are also talking about the past. One thing is similar, but the context of the statement is different. Let's check out the E option as well. They are saying as more and more stories of sexual assault have been made public in the last 2 years, they are saying that sexual assault stories, again, you can say narratives. There was a word called narratives here. There was a word called stories here. Let's see that either they have the connection or not. Made in public for last 2 years, the genre of their telling has exploded. Crimes have a tendency to become not just stories, but genres. Genres are called types. So they are not just the stories, they are becoming the types of something, right? So E has a connection with the stories of B. B has a connection with C. C has a connection with A. Ultimately, D, the thing of asking questions about the victim past, the question part is somewhat different. The charitable questions which are asked to the victim. So it's a slightly different idea. No doubt they were talking about the past. That was connected, but it was not connecting to one particular sentence because no questions were asked throughout the options. Is it clear, Shreya?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Let's solve another question. We have 2 more questions left. We can solve this question as well. Shreya, done?
Yes, ma'am. I think E will be the right answer.
E. Okay. So why you think so? Because here in E option, the information is abundant, right? They were talking about the information is abundant. Information goods are freely replicable. Once a thing is made, it can be copied and pasted infinitely. And in D option, you can see information as a social good incapable of being owned, exploited, or prized. They were talking about the same thing. So D and E will be interconnected. Don't you think?
Yes, ma'am.
They were talking about the monopolized information. Na? So they were explaining that how the information is a social good. It is very important. And they are just contradicting it by using yet. Information is abundant. It is readily available everywhere. So it can be copied and pasted infinitely also. So they are just talking on the one page and then they are contrasting the same view in the E option. So they are connected. So now you have to find out in A, B, and C, which A can be the answer. Just check out the rest of the options as well. One connection I have made for you. Shreya, can A be connected to some point? You can check out A is saying you can observe the truth of this in every e-business model ever constructed, monopolize and protect data. So they were talking about the information, that is data. They were talking about monopolize, that is still written in the D option. Monopoly is like when there is a single market. Okay, so that is called monopoly. So D is connected to A directly, right? The rest of the option, check out B or C.
Ma'am, I can see.
C is incorrect. Okay, just tell me one thing. The capitalism is the word. Have you found this word in any of the option? Capitalism is related to the market, no doubt, but capitalism is related to money and finances as well. No? So this was somewhat different. And in C option, they are saying Kenneth Harrow, he was the guru of economics, that in a free market economy, again, it's called monopoly. When there's a free market, you can do anything. You are a single person to sell your product. There's a free market. The purpose of inventing thing is to create intellectual property rights. That means the property rights are of yours. So this can be related to monopoly, but capitalism is something which is a different vocabulary word. So this cannot be related. So the answer will be B in this case. Got it? Because E is related to D and C has a link with A, right? Free market economy. So ultimately they all are interrelated. Now got it, Shreya?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, try the last one. Are you done, Shreya? Shreya, you done? Or are you doing it?
I think B.
B. Okay.
Sorry.
So how it is, A or B? See, I'll tell you an easy way of marking the keywords, right? And then tell me. See, here the sentence started with a talk. Slave, men, women subvert the rules of their bondage to gain more agency than they were supposed to have. So they here refers to men and women. So the sentence revolves around the talk of the enslaved men and women. Okay. So this is the basic structure of marking keywords, right? In the B option, if we'll talk about even in condition of extreme violence and unfreedom, their words, who are there, like which this word refers to who. There means men and women. Their words means talk. Okay, this talk remained ubiquitous. Ubiquitous means present everywhere, right? Ephemeral, irrepressible, potentially transgressive. So these kind of words, if you don't know, still just leave those words, because ultimately the main focus of the examiner is not to give you the words which you need to understand. The main focus of the examiner is that you should mark the correct keywords which make sense. So you have to focus on that men and women talk about the violence and unfreedom and on these particular topics. Okay. Then in the C option, it is saying slaves came from the societies in which oaths, orations, invocations carried great potency both between people and as a connection to all powerful spirit world. Now you can see they are talking about the slaves came from the society, where they come from. The earlier they were talking about the words and the talk they used to do in front of the people, but now they're talking about where they come from, what are their background. They're talking about the background information. All right. So B and A were related, but we can't relate the C option till now. Then D was saying the freedom of speech. Again, they're talking about something related to talk. Okay. And the power of silence may have preeminent markers of white liberty in colonies, but at the same time, slavery dependent on. So earlier they were talking about the slavery was dependent on the freedom of speech and the power to silence. But now, at the same time, they're dependent on dialogues, again related to talk. Slaves could never be completely muted. So whoever the slaves are, they can't remain quiet. They can't be muted. They remain on the dialogue. All right. So again, they're talking about the slave talk. So slave talk, we have, just a second. Slave talk, we have talked about in A option, which is related to B option, which is related to D option till now. Let's check out the E option. They're talking about the slave owners obsessed over slave talk. Now you can see they all are connected. Though they could never control it, yet feared its power to bind and inspire. And as everyone knew, oaths, whispers, secret conversation bred conspiracy and revolt. So they are saying that slave talk is something which they can't control. They are feared with power. No doubt, whatever oath, whispers, secret conversations they take, but still they talk and they can't control over it. So in C option, they were talking about the oaths, that they come from this background. So we don't need any background information. We need that how the slave talk how the slave talk is done and what things they are dependent on. So the answer will be C, because some of the words are missing, especially the talk they are talking about. All right. Is it clear, Shreya?
Yes, ma'am.
So now you want to practice more questions, or I should definitely switch to other topic, that is parallelism.
Ma'am, switch to another topic.
Okay, fine. So let's start with the new topic, that is parallelism.
Actually, on that topic, I'm getting confused, ma'am.
Okay, but means why you are getting confused? Is it like inconvenient to mark the right keywords?
Sorry, ma'am.
Is it inconvenient for you to mark the right keywords? That's the
Yes,
problem.
yes, ma'am.
So the right keywords are, that's why I'm saying if you want to perform some exercises, na, I can definitely make you do those exercises, because the more exercises you do, the more fluent you become in marking the right keywords. The right keywords are the topic they're talking about. See, you can see in this exercise, it was there. Let me tell you, just a second. Let me attach my device now and then I'll show it to you. So here. Yeah, this was the exercise. You can see in the fourth option, which we have done right now, they were talking about the monopoly of the market. And the B option was talking about the capitalism thing. This was a different topic. The overall topic was on monopoly, the free market, right? Same in the case of fifth option. They were talking about the slave talk, but they were not talking about what the slaves, from where the slaves come from. Did you get it, Shreya? It's just the main topic you have to cover up in your mind, and you have to connect those keywords all together, that which keyword actually suits the sentence. Got it? This is the main strategy. If you want, now I can share the exercise with you so that you can perform it at home, like in your free time. Okay?
Okay, ma'am, you share me.
Yeah, I can share the PDF file with you and then you can perform it. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
All right. Now, let's come to the another topic. Parallelism. This is also a very interesting topic. So parallelism is a topic from where you can get approximately, 3 to 4 questions in your exam. And in this topic, it is all based on grammar. If you are good in grammar, then you can definitely crack this point or topic, right? So today we'll have a theory session and tomorrow we'll do the practical questions, okay? So parallelism means trying to make the structures of the sentence similar. In other words, parallelism refers to similarity of two or more words. All right. When we are talking about the sentence like Ram likes to eat chocolates and candies. Now, I have written a very simple sentence that Ram likes to eat chocolates and candies, right? Now, everyone knows that chocolate is a noun. Candy is also a noun. This is called a parallel structure. When we are using a conjunction and whatever grammar we are using prior to that conjunction, it should be similar to that of the word which we are using after this conjunction. Okay, and so if we are talking about the noun, after and there will be a noun. If we're talking about a verb, after and there should be a verb. If you're talking about the adjective and then we are using and, the other word should be also an adjective. Okay, so this is all about parallelism. Parallelism means keeping the structure parallel to each other. Don't change it. Okay, so this is all about parallelism. Now there are two types of error which people do, right? The two kinds of error are parallel structures and parallel comparisons. Sometimes the structure, like the previous sentence, if I talk about this one, likes to eat chocolate and candies. Now, this is a parallel structure because they are talking about the preference of Ram about two nouns, chocolates and candies. But sometimes we do comparisons as well, that Ram is better than Sham, right? We talk like this also when we make the comparison. Then what is the difference between the two structures? I'll tell you. For example, I have written here one sentence. Rahul's hobbies are singing, dancing, and to read books. Now you can see here, singing, dancing, and to read books are not a parallel structure, because if we'll talk about singing, this is a noun and a verb. But here, singing is considered as a verb because of this helping verb are. We always know that in tenses, if we're using is, am, are, we always use verb next, right? So in that case, singing is considered to be a verb. All right. Then in the same case, dancing is considered to be a verb. But here we are using a preposition to read. There is no need to write to read because this will be a wrong sentence. We have to use the parallel structure where we can write singing, dancing, and reading. All right. So some people have a hobby to say that I love to listen to music and read books. Right? Love to listen music and read books. But some people says, I love to listen to music and reading books. That is wrong. We can't use reading because we are using the verb's first form. So after and also we need to use verb's first form. Okay. This is a parallel structure. Or what is parallel comparison? Comparison is always related to verb second form. That is better. Here I have used better. Otherwise, there are a lot of words like younger, elder, bigger, older. Okay, these kind of words where ER is used, that is used for comparisons. So the wrong sentence I have written like this. Bangalore's weather is better than Mumbai. So Bangalore weather, they are just specifically talking about the weather of the Bangalore, right, is better. So weather of the Bangalore can't be better from Mumbai. The weather of the Bangalore will be better than Mumbai's weather. Okay. So that's why we have to write post of es, which is the correct sentence. If we will not write post of es, then definitely this answer will be wrong. This English will be wrong. Okay. Or we can also use this sentence that Bangalore's weather is better than Mumbai's weather. If you don't want to use weather word, then also it's okay. But you have to use post of es. If you want to use it, then also it's perfectly fine. So this is called the parallel structure and the parallel comparison. Let's move on to another aspect, that is approach to parallelism. It is recommended that students follow the following approach while solving the parallelism questions. Now, when the parallelism questions occur, you need to solve certain things and you need to keep some things in mind while solving these questions. Step 1. Step 1 says you need to identify whether it's a parallel structure. Just a second. Okay. So whether it's a parallel structure or a comparison question. Okay. So this I have already told you that a parallel structure is when you have to use and you have to use the same verbs form with the second verbs form or adjective with adjective. And comparison is when there is a second form of verb. That refers to comparison. So you have to use post of es in that case, in case of making comparison. Step 2 says, if it is a parallel question, check and categorize the elements to be made valid in the form of noun, verb, adjective, adverb. This also I have told you in the previous slide. It was not there. The step was not there in the previous slide. I've just told you out of this particular approach, but this is a particular step. Make sure all elements are parallel and uniform. Uniform means they should be equal, right? Step 3, if it is a comparison question, check for words like as, like, than, then, what, that, which, etc. So when we are using these words, these are used for comparison, right? I'll definitely give you some exercises in the next slides where you can understand that how the like word is used in case of comparison, how the than word is used in making comparison. We normally use that you can say one person scored better marks in my class than that of other students. Okay, random names you can use. So ultimately, I'm making a comparison and it should be similar. Now, the question time when elements separated by a comma. This is very important because now the difficulty level will increase in the parallelism questions. You need to understand this part very carefully, right? So what it is saying, just a second, incorrect version of the statement was given. The reasons why Rahul could not join IIMA were insufficiency of funds. This is element number 1. Responsibility of supporting his family. This is element number 2. and he was in need of full-time employment. This is element number 3. The element separated by comma. You can see the commas here. Here's a comma, here's a comma, and there's an and conjunction. So now you can see they're talking about the insufficiency of funds. That is the parallel structure with that of he's using a pronoun, he. He was in need in full-time employment. This is a wrong sentence because we already have talked about Rahul in the very beginning of the sentence. We don't have to use he word again and again in one sentence. So the correct version of the sentence will be, the reasons why Rahul could not join IIM were insufficiency of funds. We have used the element number 1, which is a noun. Responsibility of supporting his family, element number 2, again a noun. So again, in the third sentence, there should be a noun, right? The need to take up full-time employment. So this is called a parallel structure, right? This is very important to understand because the question will be based on this grammar. Now, let's talk about another example. Here, a sentence is written, your excuses are boring, adjective, childish, adjective, and show how ignorant you are. You word is a pronoun, talked about this person, your. Already we have started our sentence with your excuses. So ultimately it refers to that particular person. That is very clear. But we are specifically talking about that you are boring, you are childish. So you should be ignorant, na? We can't use how ignorant you are, which is typically a very different sentence. So this will not fetch you bans, right? And unnecessarily, this sentence is elongated, right? So you need to write it like this. Your excuses are boring, adjective, childish, adjective, ignorant, adjective. So this is a simple funda of clearing these kind of sentences. All right, let's come to the next slide. Now, it's very important that active voice, passive voice mismatch should not be there. Now, you simply know that whenever you are making an active voice sentence, we always keep our subject at first and object at last. In between that, there is a verb. For example, Ram purchased chocolates. So Ram here is a subject, purchased here is a verb, chocolates here is object, right? So I have made it in past tense. You can make it in present tense as well. It will be purchases in that case. I have told you in the very first lecture that when Ram is used, this is a singular noun. So definitely there should be a singular verb, purchases. So this is a present tense. And in the past tense, it is purchased, right? This is called an active voice. Let's come to the passive voice now. Passive voice is different. Here in the passive voice, the object always comes first, like the chocolates. That was our object, na? The chocolates were helping verb. We'll use a helping verb here. Were purchased. This is verb's third form. By Ram. Got it? This is a subject. This is an object. So there's a difference between active voice and passive voice. You need to be very clear with those voices. In the first sentence in active voice, then all the verbs that follow it should be in active voice and vice versa. For example, my mother. Now you can see here, my mother. Mother is a subject of this sentence. Baked the cookie. Cookie is an object she's baking, and baked here is a verb. And there's a conjunction here used in the sentence. Then after the conjunction also, there should be a active voice sentence because active voice follows the active voice. So active voice says that the subject should be at first. But here, after and, it is written the oven, which is an object, Was cleaned. Was with third form is a passive voice. By her. Her here is mother, which is a subject. Now you can see before and the voice was active. And after and the voice is passive. No structure maintained. This is a very wrong sentence. Now the correct sentence says, my mother baked the cake and cleaned the oven. So baked and cleaned are verbs, cake and oven are object, and my mother's subject will remain the same. So we don't have to write subject again and again. All right. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good enough. Let's come to the gerunds. One second. One second. I think the one slide is missing. Just a second. Yeah. Okay. This is a slide, gerunds. Okay. This is very important. The next part. Now here, gerunds, infinites and participles. This also is very important in our parallelism part. Now, first of all, what are gerunds? Gerunds are those nouns which we can convert it in verbs. All right. So verb participles are present participle and past participle. Present participle has ing verb. Past participle has ed verb. This you have to cram because there is no rule to understand this particular concept. This is the rule you have to understand like that. All right. That present participle, we have to use ing verb, and past participle, we have to use ed. I have given examples also. These are called gerunds also. Like reading is a verb plus it's a noun. When it is a noun, it can be converted into verb by placing ing with it. Singing is a verb. Walking is a verb. Again, it's noun as well. So gerund, how to use gerunds here? V plus ing will act like a noun. Like dancing is my hobby, right? Dancing is a verb form, but it is considered as a noun. Then here is a helping verb, my hobby, right? So these kind of sentences actually acts as a gerund, right? For example, I can say cricket is my hobby. So we always use noun for depicting our hobby. So cricket is a game, which is a noun, which is my hobby. So here dancing, dance is a noun, but we don't use dance is my hobby. Dancing is my hobby we use. So that can be converted into a verb. These are called gerunds. Let's come to infinite verbs. Infinite verbs are those verbs which actually takes place with to. All right. And to here is considered as a preposition. Right. For example, if I like to use a sentence like, I like to read, sing, dance. Read, sing, dance are the nouns and I am using to. So this will be converted into a verb because to always contain verb with it. Right. So that's why I like to read, sing, dance. So the noun is converted into verb. These are called gerunds and infinites. All right. Now, I have written an example because simple sentences will not come in your CAT exam. The sentences which will come in your CAT exam, it will have a various type of grammatical structures. Like there will be verbs, there will be adjectives, there will be prepositions, there will be adverbs. So you will definitely have a mixed match of sentences, but you need to find out the correct sentence out of it. All right. So here it is written, walking to the place of work is easier. This is a second form of verb. For me, than. Now I have told you that when you are making a parallel comparison, it should match with the rest of the sentence. Okay. So it is written, walking is to the place of work is easier for me than to take the bus. This is a mismatch of a sentence. So rather than to take, it should be taking. Because I have used verbs form. So here also after that, I have to use the verb form to make a parallel comparison. Right. So this is a basic knowledge of gerunds, articles, past participle, present participles, comparisons. These are very basic forms. All right. But when you'll get the exam sentences, it will be multiple of these structures. That like there will be big sentences, 2 to 3 line sentences. So you need to find out the gerunds, infinites, participle differently. Okay. So now let's talk about another sentence. Let's solve the other kind of sentence. Here the sentence, if we are suggesting somebody like you should do it, we should do it, that means that is a kind of suggestion that we should perform something. So here it is written, we are ready with our jackets in case it should rain. Should is for future, no doubt, but it is not making any sense because we're not talking about suggestions. So in that case, it should be, we are ready with our jacket in case it rains. In case it rains means we are using a verb form, because here also we are using a verb form. All right, it should be a parallel structure. This is a very common example, right? Let's come to the remaining part. Okay. Correlative conjunctions, right? This is the part we are now talking about, correlative conjunction. Now here, the question type will come related to correlated conjunctions and idiomatic expressions. So how you need to write your answers, okay? What are correlative conjunctions? These I have given an example. Now, whenever we are using any sentence from not only, for example, I'll definitely tell you the example. Not only this I have done anything, but also this. So they will definitely be placed at the same time in a same sentence. If we're using this sentence not only, so if you're not writing but also with it, the sentence will be incorrect for sure. So there are some kind of conjunctions which are actually come together in a sentence. You can't just, detach those sentences or detach those words from each other. All right. So those sentences are not only but also, two and two. So, like we say the sentence, it's too hard to handle. We use this sentence now, it's too hard to handle. So two and two are placed at the same time. If you're using two word and not using this preposition, so this sentence will be wrong. Okay. No sooner than are placed together. Hardly when. Right. Both and will come at the same place, because when we are using both Ram and Sham scored well in my class. So why are you using and with both? Because it is required. We are talking about two things. We are talking about two people, right? So when we are talking about two things or people, we always use both at the first and at the second sentence. All right. This is a very basic rule of grammar. All right. So now here I have written one example. Let's check out this example. I not only like fruits, but also vegetables. This is a very silly error everybody does while writing sentences or while marking the sentences. I not only like. When we use not only like, that means we are referring the fruits with like, right? But we don't have to. I have to say I like, because this is a verb we are using with the subject. I like not only fruits, because we are specifically talking about that only fruits are not the things which I like, but also vegetables, right? Also vegetable. This will be my correct sentence. I have written it here. I not only like fruits is a wrong sentence, incorrect version, because the like refers to fruits and we are not just focusing on the fruits part. We are focusing on the vegetables as well. So in that case, we have to make it common. I like is a common word here, and here the sentence change. Not only fruits, but also vegetables. So that means like word refers to fruits as well as for vegetables. So this is how we make our sentences. All right. And this kind of thing you have to find out in parallel structure. All right. So Shreya, is this concept is clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Good. So let's come to the other slide. Gerunds are done. Okay, uniformity in sentences. Okay, uniformity in sentences are also very important, but it is something which everybody gets with experience, right? How the sentence can be said at the same time with the same tense. As a general rule, all the verbs in the same sentence must be the same tense. Okay, so this is very a theory part, but we'll do it practically so as to make us ourselves understand very clearly. Here a sentence is written, he went home and was playing table tennis. He went home. You can see I have used went word as a verb. He is a subject and home is an object, right? So definitely here was playing was used. That is a playing is a gerund. Not required because it's not making a parallel structure. So when we ask our students that what should be there, so they will say played, right? Because we have to talk about this, talk at the same page. Before and if I using went, after and also we have to use played. This is called uniformity. No doubt it was related to the parallel structure, but the uniformity actually plays a vital role when the sentences are big enough, right? And then the logic of present and past participle. Normally we say when the sentence is present, talk about present in the rest of the sentence. And when the sentence is past, talk about the past tense in the rest of the sentence. But here there's an exception. What is that exception? Let's read out. Here, the present and past participle of verbs can be parallel depending on the context. That means they can also be considered as parallel structure. I'll give you an example. The baseball team gave up 7 unearned runs in the second inning of today's game. So gave up, I have used the verb, right? And it is in past. Okay, the verb is not a matter of concern. The past sentence is a matter of concern. All right, gave up. Past, in the second inning of today's game and still are losing. Are here is used as a present participle tense. Here they are using a gerund, losing in the 7th inning. Now here, the sentence is correct. How it is correct? No doubt it's not parallel, but still it is correct because they were talking about the past tense that in today's game, they gave up 7 unearned runs, but still they're using the word still here. Now, this is in continuity. And something when it is in continuity, whatever that happens in the past, it is in continuity till present. So we have to use the parallel structure of past and present. Otherwise, we never use it. But still, when these kind of exceptions come, where we have to continue our past till now, then we use past tense before and present tense after and. So here the sentence is like the baseball team gave up 7 unearned runs in the second inning of today's game, but still, still are losing in the 7th inning. Talking at the same page, and this is making a sense and a correct sentence. All right. Now, this is the important thing in uniformity in sentences. Let's talk about some of the comparisons of like versus as. Okay. Now, this is just a second. Yeah. So question type is comparison. Let's check out what is said in these kind of question. Like is used when comparing similar qualities in two nouns. When we are talking about that this quality is similar in Ram and Sham. So they are talking about the same kind of quality in both aspects. In two nouns, Ram and Sham has same qualities, right? So we use like. They are like each other, right? But when we're talking about the word as, like and as is talking about the similar qualities, not the exactly same. Okay, the similar qualities. Linking word in a comparison, it can also be introduced a comparative clause. Okay, I'll tell you with the help of example. The eagle, like the vulture, is a bird of prey. Okay, they have the quality. Sorry, as is used as same qualities, same. Like is used as similar qualities, right? Yes. So the eagle, like the vulture, is a bird of eagle, like the vulture. So that means they have similar qualities. That is bird of prey. How they attack their, you can say, you can say the victims, or like how they attack basically on the birds, right? So they are just at the same page. But when we're talking about as is used as a linking word to talk about the same person. For example, he went to Harvard. This is not, this is just not readable. He went to Harvard to do his MBA as his father had done before him. Now you can see he refers to a son or a daughter of a father. He went to Harvard to do his MBA. So he did his MBA from Harvard as his father had done before him. So that means his father had done the same thing, not similar, same, right? This is something which is similar. This is something which is same. So there's a very little difference, but sometimes people get confused the how to use as and like in the sentences, right? I'll give you another example out of this. If I say bring vegetables from the market like potatoes. So this means, if I'm using like word, this means that you need to bring vegetables from the market which look like potatoes, which has similar qualities. It can be any, like sweet potato can be the thing which he or she can purchase, or anything which relates to potato, okay, like potatoes. But if I'll use the word as here, bring vegetables from the market as potatoes, that means you have to bring potatoes only. You can't bring any other vegetable which looks like potatoes. So you have to bring the same vegetable which I'm talking about. So this is the basic difference between like and as, right? So I have written one more example to make you understand. Now these kind of examples will come in your exam, the difficult ones. The cotton material absorbs perspiration better than synthetic material. Now, when we look at this sentence, we find that it is okay. There's no such problem because they're talking about the cotton material, they are talking about the synthetic material, and they are saying that cotton material is better in terms of perspiration, right? But actually, this is a wrong sentence because we are talking about absorption, right? And when we are talking about absorption, the material absorbs perspiration better than synthetic material. The material is not something which we are comparing. We are comparing the absorption of that material. So this will be a wrong answer if we'll write like that, right? The correct version of this question will be cotton material absorbs perspiration better than synthetic material does. So the quality of the material which does the absorption, that quality is better in cotton material as compared to the synthetic one, right? So otherwise, if we can use this sentence, synthetic material, that means we are comparing the precipitation of material. But here, actually, we are comparing the precipitation of absorption of that material. The main quality of this sentence is absorption of that material. That means we have to use the word does here. That whatever the material does, it is less, you can say, productive than that of cotton material. Is it clear, Shreya?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is all about parallelism. Tomorrow, we will start our sentences or practice questions, right? From this thing. If you want to, ask any question about parallelism, you can ask if you have. Then I can definitely share you the PDF on your mail, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Just a second. Just a second. Shreya, what you can do is, I think the sharing will not be done on Zoom. So what you can do is, you can click pictures if you want to, screenshots.
Okay, ma'am, no issue.
Yeah, you can just, click the pictures and then you can practice it at home.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Done?
Yes, ma'am, done.
Okay. Also a question? There are total, I think, 5-6 questions.
Done, ma'am.
You can, okay, this question.
Done.
Okay, the last one.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, so you can practice these questions. Okay, these are very easy questions. I have actually given you this exercise today, that was tough, but these questions are really easy, and here you can definitely practice of marking the keywords correctly. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, and then if you find any problem in any of the question out of these 5, you can ask me in tomorrow's class. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Now, do you have any questions to ask me?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Done, dear. We'll meet tomorrow then. Okay, at the same time.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Bye-bye. Take care. Good evening.